You know, it does worry me, Bronwyn Bishop. I say that there's a sort of international hate movement that seems to be occurring now. I mean, we just spoke to the great Tanvir Ahmed. We talked about the way in which we can all be brought together, and so many ways the coronavirus brought us all together. We had something to rally around. It may have suppressed some views on other things. What happened to George Floyd a week ago was awful, just dreadful. There's no pardoning in my view of what I've seen. But what's been happening since has been equally dreadful. And tomorrow, the New South Wales Supreme Court, on the application of New South Wales Police, has said the march can't happen. But I say it'll happen. It'll happen in Melbourne. It'll happen in Brisbane. It'll happen in umpteen other places. Black lives do matter. All lives matter. Aboriginal Australians have had a horrible time. We know that, Bronwyn. But doing this sort of stuff is not going to win people to their cause, because we've all suffered through this coronavirus lockdown, but some people are saying to hell with following the law, we'll do what we damn well like.
Yeah, well, Gary, this is precisely what is being shown, and that is that we are not all in it together. And if I hear that jingle one more time, I think I'll scream. Because 80% of the economy is delivered by the private sector, which supports the public sector, which provides our schools and our hospitals and our police, and they're the ones being penalised. Then we've got the premiers who come out and tell us that, the right to protest is the highest right you've got. Rubbish. We've got the right to go to work, the right to bring up our families, the right to put food on the table, the right to use our talents, the right to meet together for political, for social or for business reasons. And yet we're told that we can't do any of those things. It is absolutely ridiculous. And any cachet of admiration that those premiers may have had, they have dashed with this. It is absolutely nonsense to say you can have one rule for one lot and one rule for another. We are told that people have been obeying the law, isolating, self-distancing, and yet it was legal until lunchtime, according to Gladys Berejiklian, to have 5, 10, 20,000 people all huddled together and protest, not observing any of those directions, disregarding the health advice because they had a right to protest. And suddenly, the outcry from the ordinary people, whom that same premiers have set the police on to stop them sitting in park benches or lying in the sun. It is absolutely ridiculous, and people are seeing it. I said right at the beginning of all this that we were going to see civil unrest if the people were pushed too far. Well, now those same premiers are in panic.
Yeah, well, there is something in all of that. And, of course, I think Tony Abbott summed it up quite well today. He said we can't go and watch a game of football, but we can have a protest. And at one stage there was a gag saying that in Victoria the only way you could see your mother on Mother's Day was to see her in aisle 11 at your local Bunnings. I mean, this is how crazy it got. But despite all of this, David Shoebridge, the Greens member of the New South Wales Parliament, the organiser of this thing tomorrow, well, look, this is his reaction to the Supreme Court's ruling this evening.
This is clearly a disappointing outcome, because what this means is that the organisation that was there to make this rally as safe as possible, to ensure that the social distancing was as thorough as possible, that organising can no longer continue. Effectively, the police have taken over responsibility for what happens tomorrow out of the hands of the protesters. That's a very unfortunate outcome. And that therefore means that whatever happens tomorrow will be under the control of and the responsibility of the police.